What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another WaifuJu video. Today, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people have asked me in the community, and it does revolve around team building. It's not a tier list, but it's kind of similar. It's going to be how to build your bench in MLB The Show 23. Now, with how the game runs this year, we do have the universal DH, as you guys see highlighted by my Rafael Devers on my God Squad currently. The DH has really taken a lot away from the usage of the bench that we've had in years past. Obviously, we used to have to hit with our pitchers. We'd likely put them in either the 8 or the 9 spot. And then when they were coming out of a game, we take them out, we put in the pinch hitter, and then that cycle kind of continues throughout the rest of the game until it is over or you've run out of pinch hitters and now you're just forced to hit with a pitcher or however that goes, right? So now the bench has one less spot because of the DH, but it is way more functional in terms of actually using the cards for more than just their hitting attributes. There's three main things that I look for in bench bats and three main things I look for in benches in general in MLB The Show 23. So the way that I personally use my bench right now is I have 2 righties, 2 lefties, right? Jack Peterson, McNeil, Joey Meneses, and Eloy Jimenez, right? What I am currently looking for a bench in my team is trying to fill out the positions that I tend to potentially struggle with if I have a handedness disadvantage. So there's some cards that I feel very confident in. If I were going lefty-lefty or righty-righty, like Trey Turner is an amazing righty-righty hitter. I feel perfectly fine hitting righty-righty with him. Cedric Mullins is a card that I actually love hitting lefty-lefty with. So those are cards that no matter the pitcher, no matter the situation, I'd likely leave in. They're also great defensively. They're fast. So those are not guys that I would look to take out of a game. However, cards similar to, say, Eddie Matthews, right? Eddie Matthews is a pretty good fielder over there at third base, but he's not a guy that I personally feel confident in hitting lefty-lefty. So this is a prime candidate for a card that I would use a potential bench spot for. So we're going to go ahead and look. And I have this card right here, Joey Meneses. He's a 97 charisma card. He can play third base, and he is significantly better statistically than Eddie Matthews versus lefties. I also love the way that his swing feels versus lefties. So if I'm ever in a really sticky situation and I feel really uncomfortable with a guy like Eddie, I have a card on the bench with Joey Meneses that's going to be able to go in and fill that spot. He'll play a fine third base over there. It's definitely not ideal, but he's definitely going to feel better for that singular at bat. And if we face a lefty the rest of the game, say they're starting Vita Blue, now I have a guy that I'm comfortable with the rest of the game that starter is in the game. Now, I don't have a lot of guys on this team that I don't feel comfortable that are right-handed because I only really have 2 right-handed batters, and it's Julio and Trey Turner. I haven't really used Julio Rodriguez yet, but he is a great defender out in right field, so I'm not going to put him as a candidate. So we'll just make a hypothetical here and say that I'm using who's like a third here. Perfect. Gary Sheffield, right? 97 overall Gary Sheffield. Say I was starting him at third base. He would be another guy that I'd be concerned with on handedness matchups, right? He's only 94 contact versus right. He has kind of a long and inside stance, so people like to throw up and in fastballs to him. And if I'm not getting to 103 from Bob Gibson or whoever's throwing it, I'll look to potentially have a guy to replace him. That's why I would have a guy like Jeff McNeil in here. He's a lefty bat, and he has really high contact versus righties and a great swing. He's way better, and he's super versatile on defense. So if I really didn't want to have Gary Sheffield in, here comes McNeil. He's able to just swap him in mid-game, and all of a sudden now I have a lefty over there that I feel confident in. Now let's put him back real quick. Why do I like a card like Jeff McNeil on the bench outside of just being a lefty bat with some pretty good contact? Well, Jeff McNeil has the perfect bench bat aura, right? He's a high contact guy. He's a fantastic defender. 99 defense, just a parallel 1 at second base. So he'll be a diamond defender no matter what position you put him. And he can play first, third, left, and right field all pretty well. He plays all of those at a diamond, and he'll have a little under 90 reaction at any of his secondaries. He's not the fastest, but because of the reaction and the defense, he'll play a fine left and right field. So cards like this that can play a lot of positions and fill holes that you might have in your team are really, really awesome because there's a lot of guys with great secondaries in this game, right? And say, for example, you were like, man, I really don't feel comfortable with Gary Sheffield, but I want to still make some weird plays and keep guys. I want to get the best defensive team I can get out there, right? So here's what you can do now. You can slide Chipper to third base, Lindor to his primary, and now all of a sudden you have 3 guys in their primary that are all fantastic defensively, just like that. And you can do that in game too. All of a sudden, the defense gets significantly better, and you're still replacing that righty with a lefty. So having a lot of guys that are able to kind of move around and play a bunch of different positions is super, super valuable to me personally in the team building aspect of it. Now, I also have these 2 guys right here, and this is Eloy Jimenez and Jock Peterson. The one other reason that I like to have guys that have a lot of positions is because the first 2 guys off my bench are typically strictly boppers. Eloy is just an outfielder. He only doesn't even play center field, but he absolutely mashes baseballs for me. I'm hitting well over 500 with 19 at-bats, and most of this isn't even moonshot. This was from the old Charisma events, so he's been fantastic for me. I would likely bring him in if I really needed to and really wanted to hit in a situation for, say, a Cedric Mullins. Well, it's like, well, dang. Now I'm putting a terrible defender in for a really good defender at the end of a game just for that one at bat. So now you can take your guy like Jeff McNeil, or if you wanted to take an even better defensive guy, you can go somebody like Jazz Chisholm. Again, fantastic positions that he plays. He's a great defender, and he's even faster. So a guy like Jazz is a fantastic bench option as well. So now what we wind up doing is Eloy comes in to pinch hit for Cedric, right? Now Cedric's burned. And then we would go Jazz right back in for Eloy for defense if that's the route we wanted to take. If we wanted to end the game, get our hit, take him out, put the defense back out there, that is absolutely an option we'd be able to do because of the way that we set up our bench. Now, there's one more really, really important guy or type of card that you can put on your bench, and there's not a whole lot of them in the game currently, so we're just going to use this Tommy Edmonds as an example. But it's exactly like the McNeil and the Jazz Chisholm, where they're amazing defensively and have a lot of positions, but it's the switch hitter. So some of these cards might not be as great defensively as Tommy Edmond is particularly, but they'll be able to play a lot of positions. So there's cards like Tommy Edmond, Eduardo Escobar, if he ever gets a good one. Ketel Marte is a great example. Those are just cards that have a lot of positional versatility and flexibility, and they're a switch hitter. So they don't have the handedness fight that you're going to have to deal with some of these other cards. So you bring these guys off the bench. Now you're comfortable regardless of the pitcher on the mound for the end of the game, and you're able to pull him in for defense. So you could have a guy like this just sitting on your bench. And again, you could have Sheffield in. Maybe you still want to hit with Sheffield, but it's the 9th inning and you don't want to give up a run. You throw Tommy Edmond over there at third base. The defense gets instantly better, and you still have an opportunity to have a really good bat that's a switch hitter in your lineup if and when you're having to go back up and swing the bat some more. Now, there's one other really, really good use for the bench in this game that I think a lot of people will eventually take more advantage of as the year goes on, and it is with captain cards. And I think this is probably one of the best examples of it. There's a couple of examples right now, but the Buck O'Neil is one of the best examples of it. You're going to need to have 7 players from the Sanford Green series on your team, which is essentially all of them. And then you wind up getting all these amazing boosts, 25 power, 25 hits per 9, 25 balls per 9. Obviously, this one's a little bit different because there's pitchers involved. But this source of it still stands. You can have Buck O'Neil. You throw Martin Dihigo in there as well. And now you're like, all right, let's look at our captain boost. We are 5 out of 7 players away. How do we get those other 2 players? Well, we can go to our bench, sort by boosted by captains. And now we can add Hank Thompson and Jackie Robinson to our bench. And now it fills out the requirements needed for the boost. We are 7 of 7 on the Sanford Green series, and it works on the bench. There was definitely questions of that coming into the year, whether the bench would work or not. It does, which is amazing. So we're able to use those to create an opportunity to boost cards up in the future and fill out those cards. Because as good as this Jackie Robinson is, there are better options. I would way rather have Trey Turner, Jazz Chisholm, if you have those cards, or even a Lindor or Ketel Marte over there at second base. But you still want to have Buck O'Neil and all of these pitchers to have their boosted, because they're really only usable when they have that. So it's important to use the bench, fulfill these, and you'll be way better off. A prime example right here is going to be with the Yankee team. There are some cards with the Yankee team that aren't that good. Ideally, I wouldn't have Raul Ibanez, but I don't have Babe Ruth. This 86 Derek Jeter, I don't have the 99 Jeter. Obviously, they would get replaced for better cards. But let's just say I don't really want to have those cards, right? And I only need 11 hitters from New York on the team to get the boost from Aaron Judge. Obviously, I don't have P2 yet, which is something I got to work on for me so I can use this game or use this Yankee team in a game. But I have the whole bench pretty much as Yankee cards, but you'll be able to use guys that you don't want to use or that aren't on the Yankee team, right? So you can throw Glaber at shortstop if I don't want to use this 86 Derek Jeter. And all of a sudden now I can go ahead, put Robinson Cano there, put Gary Sheffield there, and then just say replace this DJ LeMahieu for a Yankee legend that doesn't necessarily have a Yankee card on the team per se, right? There's a lot of cards in this game that will be a Yankee legend, you know, or whatever team legend, like this Gary Sheffield. He played on the Yankees, but it's a Marlin card, so he doesn't get affected by the boost, but I still want to have him on the team. Same with Robinson Cano. He's a free agent. He's not a Yankee legend in terms of the card, but he is, so I want to use him on the team. He won't get boosted, so you want to use the bench, even if they're golds, to try and get that boost as much as possible, because the boost is probably more important than a platoon bat per se. There are great options for teams like this that I don't necessarily have access to because of my Iron Man series, but you know, just say for example you really wanted to have Jazz on the bench, you can still do that as long as you're meeting the bench requirements to get their boost. You could throw Jazz and Trey Turner, who are two cards that, if they're not starting, should absolutely be on your bench because of their versatility and just their speed and defense, like things I mentioned before. But now we're able to throw both of them on the bench. We're only at 9 out of 11 cards, so we'd actually have to go ahead and put Yankees there. But if you had the potential to flip a Yankee in there, or whatever theme team you wanted, that would be a great opportunity to go away from the theme team for a second, get some cards that you think are really fun, that don't fit the theme, but still kind of make a team usable. Keep in mind, I'm sure there's going to be more opportunities for cards like this Buck O'Neil, where you'll be able to have bench and pitchers kind of boosting each other. So if there are opportunities for that, make sure you're using your bench to fulfill those. Even if, say, there's a pitcher that's a captain that it doesn't matter if they're a pitcher or a hitter, definitely use your bench, because you don't want to sacrifice a good starting rotation or a good bullpen just to get a plus 10, 15, 20 boost for a pitcher. Then you take them out and now your team is cooked because you don't have any good players. So using the bench is definitely one of the best options for fulfilling these captain boosts, and I definitely think it's an option for you guys if you're running those. So back to my God Squad. This is pretty much what I would run. I don't run a switch hitter currently like this Tommy Edmond or anything like that, because I don't really have any of them that I feel are worth it to put on the bench for me. And I like this Jeff McNeil a little bit more than I like Jazz. I know Jazz is probably a better option for the bench because of his speed, and he's just a better hitter, honestly, versus righties. But I happen to really like this Jeff McNeil card, so he's going to be my lefty option that goes in for defense. Joey Meneses is going to be my switch option for Eddie Matthews. And that is pretty much the squad that I would be running if I were to hop in ranked right now. So thank you guys again. If you liked this video and this was helpful at all, please let me know in a comment down below. Let me know your favorite bench cards right now in MLB The Show 23. There's so many great options, especially with how we started out with the 97 charismas and a bunch of 99s in the game. So let me know who you guys are rocking on your bench and how often you're using them. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below for more great MLB The Show 23 content. Will be coming out for you guys soon. My name is WaifuJu. I'll see you in the next one.